All right. Good morning. Welcome to the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City's AM docket. Today is Thursday, November 5th, 2020. The board will be hearing violation cases today. I'm going to quickly go through this PowerPoint presentation and then on to the cases. The board holds all of its cases via the WebEx platform. It's an online platform where the board holds virtual hearings. If you want to participate in the hearings, either watch and or provide testimony, there is a link that you can find on our website. It's here on the web page as well, along with an access code and password, which will allow you to access the hearings via your smartphone, tablet, or computer. If you don't have access to those devices, you can use just a landline. There's a phone number at the bottom of this slide and an access code that will allow you to listen in on the board's hearings. All the materials for our November 5th, 2020 docket are found on the link, which is also on our website. There is a 48-hour rule for evidence for online hearings. All evidence that individuals wish to use present to the board in hearing should be submitted to Ms. Russell, and for this sake, at least up until 11 a.m. on Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020. Related items, licensees should make all efforts to provide any documentation they plan on submitting to the board by 11 a.m. Attempts to introduce evidence at the hearing may lead to a postponement of your case. Just very quickly, the procedures. After I read the cases and call the cases, there'll be an evidentiary hearing wherein the licensee or their representatives and the board and or any of its witnesses will present testimony regarding the allegations. At this time, the board may ask questions, individuals can submit evidence, and after that period, the board may make its decision. If there are any members of the public that wish to give testimony, the board will give an opportunity to those individuals. Please use the raise your hand function in WebEx to be recognized. Once you are recognized, you will be pulled in, sworn in, and then provide testimony. After this process, the board will then move to sentencing. Just general ground rules that are helpful. Please identify yourself when you're pulled in as a witness and state the spelling of your name before you speak. Please speak slowly and in a clear voice so that the court reporter understands exactly what is being said and who is saying it. Please note also that this event runs live on Charm TV and a court reporter will be present. Individuals who use profanity, are disrespectful, or unruly may be expelled from the virtual hearing. Just some helpful tips in regards to the WebEx experience. Be prepared. Please don't multitask. Location matters. You want to find a well-lit, quiet area with strong internet capability so that the board can hear your testimony and see you. And with that, I'm going to move to the short docket and call the first case on the docket, which is Christian Leopoldo Rugel and Carlos Navarro Sotelo, Amigos Bar Incorporated, trading as Amigos Bar, 400 South Eaton Street, is a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license, a violation of Rule 3.12 General Welfare on August 13th, 2020, violation of Rule 4.16 Illegal Conduct, August 13th, 2020, a violation of Rule 4.05A Prohibited Hours, August 13th, 2020, a violation of Rule 4.05B Prohibited Hours, August 13th, 2020. Mr. Chair, I am pulling in all of the witnesses as we speak.
All right, is Mr. Previs there?
Oops.
Mr. Agent Perez, Inspector Robinson, please turn on your video and audio footage. Mr. Previs, please do the same.
Mr. Previs, we identify for the record, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Peter Previs on behalf of the licensees Christian Rugel and Carlos Sotelo. With me here today is Carlos's father, Javier Navarro Sotelo.
All right, let's ask the reporter to swear all the witnesses.
Okay. What was the name of the person with you again, Mr. Previs?
Javier Javier Navarro, Navarro, Sotelo, Sotelo.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank
Please
you.
raise your right hand. Thanks. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury? And please state your name before your response.
Agent Perez, I do.
Javier Navarro. I do. You can present that.
Inspector Robinson, I do.
Thank you.
Is that, all right, thank you. So, Mr. Previs, will these be admissions or denials?
Denials, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So who's going to testify on behalf of the board?
I will.
All right, thank you.
On August 13, 2020, approximately 1:32 a.m., 311 complaint 20-00536102 was received by your writer. The allegations were that Amigos Bar, located at 400 South Eden, was operating after hours. At approximately 1:55 a.m., your writer, along Inspector Robinson, responded to the aforementioned location and observed the front and side door wide open and music emanating from the exterior of the establishment. After making these observations, the writer proceeded to the interior of the establishment and observed approximately 15 individuals at the bar, some of which were observed consuming beer beverage out of 12-ounce glass bottles. I met with the bar operator, Mr. Javier Navarro, who at the time was in full operational control of the establishment. I made him aware of the violation for operating outside of the license mandated closing time of 1 a.m. and also a violation of Major Order issued 8/7/2020 prohibiting indoor consumption, with the part of the location approximately 2:05 a.m. Nothing further.
Mr. Previs, you have questions for Agent Perez?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Agent Perez, you actually got a 311 call for loud noise, is that correct?
That's correct. And operating
Not
after
for being-
hours.
And operating after hours?
Yes, sir.
You sure about that?
We need to refer to my notes. Yes, sir. A complaint stated probably operating after hours, possible license violation.
Agent Perez, I'm referring to the Liquor Board's Exhibit 2 that's in the evidence packet, and on the upper left-hand corner with regard to the complaint that was actually called in, it says Los Amigos disturbing the peace / noise / loud / front door open.
That's correct.
That's
That's the
the
same
complaint.
exhibit I'm looking to. If you go over
Right,
what it
and-
says description, it says possible operating after hours, possible license violation.
Okay, and who writes that possible after hours? The citizen
The
complaint?
person,
Or,
that's correct. Citizen complaint.
okay, and this citizen complaint came from 250 South Eaton Street, is that correct?
I'm not sure where it came from.
And 250 South Eaton Street's a vacant building, isn't it?
I'm not familiar with the residences surrounding the bar.
Do you have any knowledge of where this complaint came from?
311 system. Not
You know
sure.
who called 311?
Not sure.
Did you call 311?
I did not.
Okay. You don't know who did, right?
Repeat that.
You don't know who made the complaint?
No.
Okay. They remained anonymous? I'm sorry, you couldn't hear me?
Yes, sir. I heard your question. It was an anonymous complaint, sir.
It was?
Yes.
Okay. All right. In any event, you and Inspector Robinson went to Amigos? Correct?
You're cutting off.
Okay. You and Inspector Robinson went to Amigos?
Yes.
Okay. And Amigos has a TMP permit for the tables out on the sidewalk. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And were the tables all cleared out at the point that you got there?
There weren't any tables outside at the time
Okay.
I got there.
Were the employees still cleaning up when you got there?
I didn't observe any cleaning activities.
Okay. And you went in, you observed approximately 15 people?
That is correct.
Okay. Were the lights on or were the lights off?
Lights were off, disco light on.
Disco light on?
Yes.
And you're saying nobody was cleaning?
No one was cleaning.
Okay. And did you take any photographs?
Of the interior, I didn't. I took photos of the outside.
You took, okay. And the photos of the outside just show the building, is that right?
Shows the building with the doors open.
Okay. And it shows that the outside tables have been picked up, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. But you didn't take any pictures of anyone inside the place?
I didn't.
Why not?
Don't really have an explanation for that.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay. Do we have anything additional from Inspector Robinson?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you say that again, please?
Did you have anything to add, Inspector?
No, I don't.
Okay. Did you wish to present evidence? Do we still have Mr. Previs?
Yes. I'm
You
sorry.
were-
I thought you were talking to. Yes, I'd like to call Javier Navarro.
Okay, please do.
Thank you. Please state your name.
Javier Navarro.
Okay, and you were just sworn? Before the hearing, you were sworn in by the court reporter, is that right?
Mhm.
Okay, and were you there on the evening of August 13th, 2020 at approximately 1:55 a.m.?
Yes.
You can take your mask down. Just keep your voice up, okay?
Mhm.
All right, now, was the inside of the premises open and operating for business at that time?
Yes.
You were open for business?
No, not for business.
Okay, and what were you doing at that time?
We start putting the tables. First of all, I don't think it's the 1:55. The time they say, Mr. Perez, they say 1:55. I'm sure that's not the time. And when he comes, we start putting the tables and chairs inside. The people that is inside, that's the person that work for me. Okay, that's the ladies they waiting for his pay and cleaning. Okay, the two men over there, that's the one that tell me to put everything
Excuse
inside.
me. I don't know if you can, sorry, it's just really hard to hear you.
Okay. You need to slow down and speak up, okay? All right. So how many people were inside at that point?
It's 9 girls and 2 men. They work for me, clean it up and put everything inside.
Okay. Was anybody drinking?
I see some bottles on the top, the ones they bring in from inside, from outside.
Okay. You said the beer bottles were on the bar, but for the purpose of dumping and cleaning up?
Right.
Nobody was drinking them?
No.
Okay. And do you have any photographs of this night?
No.
Why not?
I don't take any photos.
Did you
I
Do you
got
have a
cameras.
security camera?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know to download those
I
cameras?
tried to download it, but it's 2 months ago.
Okay. So you didn't know until it was too late to do it.
Right.
You got the violation.
Right. They don't tell me anything, or when you call me, they don't tell me nothing.
Still a little hard to
I
hear.
don't know.
Sorry,
Okay.
it's still a little hard to hear.
We clear or are we breaking up?
It's breaking up a little bit, and then if Mr. Sotelo can just slow down a little bit in his responses and just speak up a little bit
Slow down.
louder, that would be helpful.
All right. So the last part that may have gotten cut off is you indicated that by the time you got this hearing notice, you couldn't download your security cameras. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Now you have a 1 o'clock closing. Is that right?
Right.
All right. And you know that you have to close at 1.
Right.
And at that time, you were not open for the interior, only for the outside tables?
Yeah.
Okay. You weren't doing business inside
No.
during this period?
No.
Okay. Are you doing business inside now?
Yes.
At what capacity? What percent?
That's the 50%.
The 50%.
Capacity.
Okay. So you understand that?
Yes.
All right. And you were one of the very first people to get the TMP permit. Is that
Right.
right?
That's right.
Okay. And you've been complying with that?
No.
You haven't been complying? You've been working under the law,
Yes.
not outside the law?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Now, Agent Perez has indicated that people were in there drinking and the disco light was on and the house lights were not on. Is that correct?
No. The lights is on, and it's not a music. No music when he's coming.
Okay.
Because the TV is only on.
The TVs were on?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
I have a couple, Mr. Navarro. Mr. Navarro, you said it was not 1:55 a.m. Did you note anywhere what time it was?
I'm pretty sure that's not the time.
But you didn't make any notation.
No.
Okay. And you indicated that there was no customers, only staff, and no one was drinking. When you were approached by Agent Perez and he told you you were in violation, did you tell him that?
Yes.
You did.
Yes.
Okay. And let me ask Agent Perez, is that what he told you, Agent Perez?
I do not recall.
You don't recall him telling you anything, or you don't recall him telling you that?
I don't recall he telling me that it was only employees on site. If that wouldn't have been the case, I would ask for employee records.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions to the commissioners.
I have no questions.
No questions, Mr. Chairman.
Do we have questions? Well, I guess, is this the point for public comment, Mr. Akers?
May I have a brief follow-up, Mr. Chairman?
Okay, do you want to, let me just find out if there's anybody else, and then you can follow up. Is there anyone else?
If there are any individuals that wish to provide testimony in this case, we please use the raise your hand function so you can be recognized and I can impanel you. Mr. Chair, I do not see any individuals that wish to give testimony in this case.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Navarro, you indicated in response to the chairman's question that you didn't note the time. You agree it was after 1 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You had already cleared all the tables from the sidewalk. Is that right?
It is, yeah.
Okay. How many tables are out there?
6 tables.
And how many chairs are out there?
Like 20.
Okay. And do you have other stuff that you have to move to the inside at that point?
The tents.
The tent as well?
Mhm.
You have to break down the tents?
Mhm.
Okay. And that was all done, right? At that point that Agent Perez was there.
The tents is on there at the time when Mr. Perez coming.
They were still up?
Yeah.
But everything else was down?
Mhm.
Okay. Thank you. I have no further questions.
Okay. All right. Thank you. On the basis then of the materials contained in the charging and the testimony received at the hearing this morning, I would find a violation of Rule 3.12 on August 13, 2020, a violation of Rule 4.16 on August 13, 2020, violation of Rule 4.05A on August 13, 2020, and a violation of Rule 4.05B on August 13, 2020. I recognize, Mr. Priebus, that these are somewhat redundant, although they're not exactly redundant, but I take that into account in imposing any sanction. I also note that this licensee has had the license about 5 years, and they've been before us. This is the fourth time, but the last time was 4 years ago. And these are unusual circumstances that people are dealing with today. So I'm going to impose a $50 fine as to each of these violations for a total of $200, which would be paid within 30 days. Commissioners?
Commissioner Guy, in consideration of the testimony and the evidence presented to the board in this case, I also find that the licensee is in violation of Rule 3.12, General Welfare, as of August the 13th, 2020, violation of Rule 4116, Illegal Conduct, August the 13th, 2020, violation of Rule 4.05A, Prohibited Hours, and violation of Rule 4.05B, Prohibited Hours, that took place on August the 13th, 2020. I concur with the fine of $50 for each of those offenses.
Based upon the testimony, the charging document, the request from Mr. Priebus, I find a violation of Rule 3.12 General Welfare on August 13, 2020. Would concur with the imposition of a $50 fine. I find a violation of Rule 4.16 Illegal Conduct on August 13, 2020, and concur with the imposition of a $50 fine. Find a violation of Rule 4.05A Prohibited Hours on August 13, 2020, would concur with the imposition of a $50 fine. And lastly, I find a violation of Rule 4.05B Prohibited Hours on August 13, 2020, and would concur with the imposition of a $50 fine.
I'd call exhibits for the record. Board Exhibit 1, Violation Report, Agent Perez. Board Exhibit 2, 311 Complaint Report. Board Exhibit 3, Governor's Executive Order dated 8/3/2020, and Mayor's Executive Order dated 8/7/2020.
Mr. Priebus, please note that we will be mailing you correspondence in the future regarding the board's decision and next steps for payment.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chair, if I may, we have Mr. Priebus on another case. I could just move to that case. That would be case number 3, and that way we could dispose of Mr. Priebus's matters.
That's fine. Let's do it.
Calling case number 3, Thomas W. Hamrick and Yanis Carolina Silva, Carolina Tex-Mex Restaurant, LLC, trading as Carolina Tex-Mex Restaurant, 500 South Wall Street, is a Class B beer, wine, liquor license, a violation of Rule 3.12 General Welfare on August 16, 2020, a violation of Rule 3.12 General Welfare on August 31st, 2020. Just give me a moment. I'm impaneling all of those witnesses now. Inspector Jordan, Agent Chase, and Agent Clark, I've made you witnesses. You're impaneled. If you could please turn on your audio and video feeds.
Okay, and who is the witness with you, Mr. Priebus?
Pedro, Pedro Silva, S-I-V-L-A.
Okay.
Huh?
Is it S-I-L-V-A?
I'm sorry, S-I-L-V-A. I misspoke.
Okay, that's okay. And Pedro, P-E-D-R-O. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you. All right. All right, I see Mr. Silva, Inspector Chase. Okay, I see Miss Jordan as well, Mr. Clark. Please raise your right hand. Okay, thank you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury? And please state your name before your response.
Yes, my name is Pedro Silva, Pedro. I do.
Thank you.
Agent Clark, I do.
Agent Chase, I do.
Rosalba Jordan, I do.
Okay, Mr. Previous, you want to identify yourself for the record, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Peter Previs on behalf of the licensees Thomas Hamrick and Yenis Silva. With me here today is Pedro Silva, the husband of Yenis Silva and co-operator of the establishment.
Okay, admissions or denials?
Admission, Mr. Chairman, as to both.
Okay. Do you want to proffer something or have him testify?
I'll proffer. If you have any questions of Mr. Silva, he'll be happy to answer them.
Okay.
Carolina's obtained their TMP permit on August 14th, 2020. The first violation was on August 16, 2020. They did not previously have any type of outdoor tables or outdoor service of any sort. They set up their outdoor tables and they did put in a speaker by the front door so that the music could be enjoyed by the people outside. Obviously, there was a complaint about noise, and on that evening, the employee, Ms. Martha Cruz, turned the music. Mr. Silva was not there on that occasion and didn't realize that it was not a good idea to try to have music for the outdoor area whatsoever. He was there on the second incident on August 31st, and as Inspector Clark indicates, when he was told about the music, he immediately removed and permanently removed that speaker. This is occasioned by the fact that we're trying to accommodate for outdoor customers that is not normally part of the routine. It was not immediately communicated to him that the speaker in the door is not a good idea, and that's why it happened a second time, but now he knows. Any violations that are on the record are back from the Broadway days, and this is it is same owners, same corporation, same LLC. But since they've opened up on Wolf Street, Eastern and Wolf, there have been no prior violations.
And Agent Clark, he was cooperative with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything further, Mr. Previs?
I also want to note that we had a discussion with the chief inspector with regard to this, and Mr. Silva was very attentive and fully understanding and discussed going forward.
Okay. Mr. Akris, are there people who want to testify about this case?
If there are any individuals, members of the public who wish to give testimony in this case, please use the raise your hand function. We will impanel you so that you can give testimony. Mr. Chair, I see no individuals that wish to give testimony in this case.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners have any questions?
Commissioner Guy, I have no questions.
No questions.
Okay, thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents and the proper the admission of the violation, I find a violation of Rule 3.12 on August 16, 2020, and again, a violation of Rule 3.12 on 31, 2020. And in consideration of all that Mr. Previs set forth in cooperation, I would impose a $50 fine as to each of those and give him 30 days to pay. So it's $100.
Commissioner Guy, in consideration of the testimony and evidence presented to the board in this case, I also find that the licensee is in violation of Rule 3.12 General Welfare. It took place on August 16, 2020, and violation of Rule 3.12 General Welfare that took place on August 13, 31st, 2020, and I concur with the fine of $50 each for the violation.
Based upon the charging document, the admission, the testimony, I too find a violation of Rule 3.12 General Welfare on August 16, 2020, would concur with the imposition of the $50 fine. Find a violation of Rule 3.12 General Welfare on August 31st, 2020, and would also concur with the imposition of a $50 fine.
Like all exhibits for the record, Board Exhibit 1, Violation Report, Agent Clark. Board Exhibit 2, 311 Complaint Report dated 8/16/20. Exhibit number 3, Violation Report, Inspector Jordan. Sorry, Exhibit number 4, 311 Complaint dated 3/31/20. I'm sorry, 8/31/20. Thank you.
Mr. Previs, you will be receiving documentation regarding the board's decision and also next steps for payment.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Previs, you don't have any more cases, correct?
I don't. I'm going to remain on in case somebody needs to draw me in. As far as I know, I don't have further involvement.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, if I may have your indulgence for the board's indulgence for one moment. I believe an attorney has checked in for a case on our docket, and I just want to confirm that.
Please go ahead.
Mr. Yu?
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Yu? Mr. Yu?
Yes. I'm
Tom.
sorry. Can you hear me?
Mr. Yu? Yes, I can hear you, sir. Mr. Yu, I'm unmuting you. I've unmuted you. Please, you don't need to touch anything else. Are you here for case number 5?
Yes, I am.
Mr. 22050 North Avenue. Okay, that's great. I just wanted to verify that. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Chair, we can move to case number 2. I have Mr. Summers and all of our witnesses present, and then we checked everybody in. We could just roll right through.
All right, let's go.
Calling case number 2, Dante Summers, Summers & Associates Management, LLC, trading as Red Door Lounge, 1000 North Payson Street. This is a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, a violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct on July 31st, 2020, and also a violation of Rule 3.08A, sanitation and safety on July 31st, 2020. Impaneling Agent Perez and Inspector Tudhope, as well as Mr. Summers. All are coming online right now. I'd ask that everyone please turn on their video and audio feeds. All right. I believe everyone is present.
Would the reporter swear
Okay,
the witness?
please raise, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury? And please state your name before your response.
Dante Summers. And yes.
Yes, I do.
Is that everyone? Okay, Mr. Summers, I'm Albert Matriciani, Chairman of the Board. As you know, you've been cited for...
I didn't hear, sorry, I didn't hear Mr. Summers' response before.
I was saying I did, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Summers, you are charged with 2 violations on July 31 for not having a permit for the outdoor service. Are you admitting or denying those violations?
I admit that I did that, yes.
Okay. We'll give you an opportunity to tell us anything you'd like to say in your defense.
You know, back at the beginning of when everything started, everything was so unclear. 1 minute we were able to do something, 1 minute we weren't. Me personally, I'm the one that pushed the people that I had in the store outside because of everything that was going on. So yes, I really am responsible for it because I did that. Yes, I put the tents up. I did that. because I was trying to make sure everybody was spaced and everybody was out the way. I did file for my TMP and everything was just, I'm all over the place with it. I'm still actually trying to do everything that I'm supposed to do as far as the TMPs are concerned. But as far as this case is concerned, yes, I totally am in violation of this. I'm the one that pushed everybody outside. I set the tent up. Yes, I did that. I'm sorry about that. Because everything was so unclear, I'm the one that did it. Yes.
Mr. Summers, are you clear now? Have you had a chance to talk with our people and figure out what you need to do?
Yeah. I've actually talked to. I've been going through the loop with everybody. Yes.
All right. And Agent Perez, was he cooperative with you?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Do the commissioners have any questions for Mr. Summers?
I do not.
Guy?
Commissioner Guy, no, I have no questions.
All right. Mr. Adams, are there others who wish to testify?
If there are any members of the public who wish to testify in this matter, please use the raise your hand function and I will impanel you. Mr. Chair, I see no members of the public who wish to give testimony in this matter.
Okay. Mr. Summers, on the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents and your testimony, including your admission of these violations, I find a violation of Rule 4.16 on July 31, 2020, and a violation of Rule 3.08 small a on July 31, 2020. I accept your explanation. It has been confusing and not easy to comply. And I think you had good intentions, but you need to be much more careful. So I'd impose a $50 fine as each violation. I'd give you 30 days to pay.
Thank you.
Commissioners?
Commissioner Guy, in consideration of the testimony and evidence presented to the board in this case, I also found that the licensee is in violation of Rule 4.16, illegal conduct. It took place on July the 31st, 2020, and Rule 3.08A, sanitation and safety, that also took place on July 31st. I concur with the fine of $50 for each offense.
Based upon the charging documents, the admission from Mr. Summers, I too find a violation of Rule 4.16 on July 31st, 2020, and would concur with the imposition of the $50 fine. I also find a violation of Rule 3.08A, sanitation and safety on July 31st, 2020, and also would concur with the imposition of a $50 fine.
Might call exhibits for the record. Exhibit number 1, violation report, Agent Perez.
Thank you.
Mr. Summers, we will be sending you the board's decision via mail as well as the next steps for payment.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Sir.
Calling the next case, case number 4, Christopher Perrin and Santosh Pudel, Haramaya LLC, trading as Beck's Liquor, 600-04 North Chester Street, is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license, a violation of Alcoholic Beverages Article 12905D2 on August 20th, 2020, and a violation of Rule 4.05B, prohibited hours, on August 20th, 2020. I'm paneling Mr. Boozer, who, the attorney, his witnesses are with him, as well as Agent Hahn and Agent Clark, who are the witnesses in this case.
Good morning, Your Honor. Frank Boozer on behalf of Harry Maya LLC. This will be an admission.
Okay. Mr. Boozer, you want to tell us what the problem was?
The problem, I'm somewhat to blame, Your Honor. My client is always diligent about following the rules and regulations of the board. And when he received, I'll call it the May-June letter, alerting licensees of the coming effect of 12905B2, he brought it to me. We actually sat down over a map of Baltimore City. I was doing meets and bounds description as a law clerk again, and we followed the meets and bounds descriptions as laid out in D2 as best we could. It was our conclusion together that he was indeed just by the ever slightest amount outside of the D2 zone. On August 28th, obviously the inspectors showed up and informed him he was open 20 minutes early that morning. I was on the phone that afternoon with Mr. Akris. I was being unreasonable. Mr. Akris was always being professional and correct. Mr. Akris shared with me the map that the liquor board had of the meets and bounds descriptions. So it's not as if my client wantonly violated 12905 D2. He did the right thing, consulted with me, and we sat down, and the conclusion we came up with was unfortunately the wrong conclusion. I then followed with Mr. Akris, and we gained a more accurate map. I still think my drawing as to 12905 not meets and bounds is 12905 D2 was correct, but I'll obviously defer to the board on that. I would ask the board to take into consideration. He was diligent. He realized the law. He sought counsel and advice on the law. Unfortunately, a mistake must have been made, and that meets and bounds of D2, 12905 D2 are now clear to him. Second, that it was not like he was open at 1 o'clock in the morning. He was open at 12. His normal hours before the institution of 12905 D2 were from 8 a.m. till 11 p.m., just 1 hour outside the statutory restrictions. And the third, he obviously was polite and cooperative with the inspectors. In light of all those three facts, I'm asking the board to impose a $250 fine to suspend that fine because I don't believe he did it maliciously. He certainly didn't do it out of ignorance, and the situation has been resolved now to the best of my knowledge. He's, as of my sharing the map with him, the liquor board's map, after the conversation I had with Mr. Akris in early September, you won't, the law is very clear in regard to 12905 D2 and the exact area in which it encompasses. That's all I would have, Mr. Chair. Your Honor, if any questions of me or my client, would be happy to entertain them at this time.
Okay, the commissioners have any questions?
I have none.
No question.
Do we have others who wish to comment, Mr. Akris?
If there are any members of the public who wish to give testimony in this case, please use the raise your hand function, and I will impanel you. Mr. Chair, I see no individuals who wish to give testimony, no members of the public who wish to give testimony in this matter.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Boozer, on the basis of the materials contained in the charging documents, your proffers, including the admissions on behalf of your client, I find violations of Alcoholic Beverage Article 12905 D2 on August 20, 2020, and of our Rule 4.05B on August 20, 2020. I appreciate your falling on your sword, and that your client probably was trying to comply. He has technical violations. I would impose nominal fines of $50 as to each violation for $100 total and give him 30 days to pay. Commissioners?
Commissioner Guy, I also find that the licensee is in violation of rule for the violation of Alcohol Beverage Article 12905 D2 that took place on August 20th, 2020, in violation of Rule 4.05B, prohibited hours also on August the 20th, 2020. And I concur with the fine of $50 for each offense.
I also appreciate the licensee's efforts to try and address this. It sounds like he did the right thing, but unfortunately, just as Mr. Boozer said, came to the wrong conclusion. But I, too, based on the charging documents and the proffers from Mr. Boozer, find a violation of Alcoholic Beverage Article 12-905D2 on August 20, 2020, and will concur with the imposition of a $50 fine, as well as I find a violation of Rule 4.05B, hours, on August 20, 2020, and would also impose concur with the imposition of a $50 fine.
Mike Holzibus for the record. Board Exhibit 1, violation report. Inspector Hahn. Board Exhibit 2, House Bill 954.
Mr. Boozer, please note that the board will be sending you correspondence via mail regarding the board's decision and next steps for payment.
I'll look for it, Mr. Akers. Thank you, Your Honor. Nice to see you.
You too. Have a good day.
You too.
All right. Calling the last case on the docket, case number 5, Ida Hopkins and Untitled 2250 Group LLC, trading as Robbie's Nest, 2250 East North Avenue, a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license, a violation of Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-905D2, August 20th, 2020, a violation of Rule 4.05B, prohibited hours, August 20th, 2020. Mr. Yu, I'm pulling on right now, and we still have Agent Hahn and Agent Clark impaneled. Mr. Yu, could you please turn on your audio and video feeds?
Okay, can you see me?
We can see you. Yeah. Will you identify yourself for the record, Mr. Yu?
Good morning, Your Honor. J.U. representing the respondent, Mr. Sim, who's in my office this morning.
Good morning. Are these going to be admissions or denials, Mr. Yu?
It'll be an admission, Your Honor.
Okay, you got a proffer it?
Yes, Mr. Sim received the new license and also the license that there was issued back on, I think it was delivered to him on the 17th of August, and this incident happened a few days later. So basically, when Mr. Sim received the new license, he simply did not look at it carefully enough. Actually, the license says that the premises can be open from 2 to 6, but then again, there's a restriction in the below section that clearly says, it's restricted from 9 a.m. to p.m., but he simply didn't read the license carefully. In fact, he just put up on the wall. Usually, Mr. Sim, he doesn't, he's not very proficient in English, so usually what he does is whenever he receives anything, he usually, sends it to his CPA or me and then ask what it's about. But since it was a license, he just hung it up on the wall without checking it. After he found out that location, that area, the liquor business, his bar closed from open from 9 to 10, he promptly like that, and ever since this citation, he is keeping that hours, and he knows that he needs to open at 9 and close at 10, and he's doing it religiously, and he's apologetic to the board for the mistake he made from this point on, and he will make sure that anything that comes along from the liquor board or any government agency, he'll make sure that he fully understands what it's about rather than just ignoring it.
All right, thank you. Do the commissioners have any questions for counsel?
I have no questions.
No questions.
We have others, Mr. Akers?
No, I'm sorry, Commissioner Greenfield, I didn't hear you. Did you say you had questions or no questions?
No questions.
Sorry, I apologize.
Sure.
If there are any members of the public who wish to give testimony at this time, please use the raise your hand function. I will impanel you so you can provide testimony. Mr. Chair, I see no individuals who wish to give, or I see no individuals from the public who wish to give testimony in this matter.
Okay. Mr. Yu, on the basis then of the materials contained in the charging documents and your proffer, as well as the admission on behalf of your client of the violations, I find a violation of Alcoholic Beverage Article 12-905 small d2 on August 20, 2020, as well as our Rule 4.05 small b on August 20, 2020. And I accept your explanation. It's understandable, but I would impose $50 fines as to each of these violations and give the licensee 30 days to pay.
Commissioner Guy, I too find that the licensee is in violation of Alcoholic Beverage Article 12-905 D2 and violation of Rule 4.05B, prohibited hours. Both of them took place on August the 20th, 2020, and I concur with the fine of $50 each for both offenses.
So based upon the charging documents, the admissions on behalf of the client from Mr. Yu, I can find a violation of Alcoholic Beverage Article 12-905B2 on August 20, 2020, and would concur with the imposition of a $50 fine. I also find a violation of Rule 4.05B, prohibited hours, on August 20, 2020, and would concur with the imposition of a $50 fine.
My exhibits for the record. Investigation report, Agent Clark.
Mr. Yu, please know that the board will be sending you correspondence via mail concerning its decision and the next step for payment.
Okay, Mr. Adams, does that conclude our docket for today?
Mr. Chair, it absolutely does. The board will be in recess until Tuesday, November 17th, 2020. November 17th is a Tuesday hearing, and it will be followed by a Thursday hearing on November 19th. If you have any questions or concerns, please call our office, 410-396-4377, between 8:30 and 4:30 p.m.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you. You did the same.